Overwhelming rejection from you watching this morning to the suggestion that criminals should end up serving their sentences in a supermarket, doing things like stacking shelves, in this new idea to help tackle prison overcrowding. Bosses in Iceland have said they want to offer paid jobs to low-risk offenders as part of a suspended sentence.
They've said those guilty of crimes like arson and terrorism would, of course, be excluded, but it could include shoplifters or anyone guilty of minor criminal damage. Joining us now, former prisoner Chris Atkins, author of Time After Time, Why Criminals Can't Quit Crime, thinks it's a brilliant idea. Criminal defence lawyer Paul Britton says it makes a mockery of the criminal justice system. Good morning to you both.
Hi.
Chris, overwhelmingly, viewers agree with Paul. Why, if you have been convicted of a crime, should you be able to sit behind a till at Iceland?
The problem is you're talking about low-level, persistent offenders who commit dozens and dozens of crimes. And when I was inside, I'd see people go home on the Friday and come back into prison on the Monday because they'd gone and nicked something from a shop.
And you were inside for?
I was inside Wandsworth for 9 months, inside in total for 2.5 years. And I saw the system rammed full of low-level, persistent offenders. These are people who've never had a job, never had a bank account, never paid tax. All the evidence shows if you give someone like that a job, they're far less likely to reoffend. I've written a whole book about this time after time, and all the evidence shows that people who go from prison into employment stop offending. So that means no new victims.
But what about the victims? Because if someone, for example, has been smashed in the face in the street, had their watch ripped off their wrist or their wallet taken or whatever, and they see that person convicted in a court of law and then sentenced to 3 months stacking baked beans in Waitrose, they're not going to be very happy, are they? One
of the things victims always say to me, and I've written a whole book about this, I've spoken to many, many victims of crime, is that they don't want to see that happening again. And the problem is we have a reoffending crisis in this country. So 80% of all crimes are reoffences. They're people who do it over and over and over and over again. So you want to break that cycle of reoffending, you've got to do something that's different from just locking them up again. And one of those things is give them a job.
Paul, we've also seen actual convicted criminals released from prison. So if we really need that space, why not sentence the low-risk offenders to work at Iceland?
Susanna, I'm sitting here biting my lip because it's just shows how out of touch these people are. I mean, the owners of Iceland saying that people can come and work in the shop. You know, shoplifters, put them in a shop where they can shoplift is ridiculous.
But they're
the point...
stealing food from Iceland.
Hang on, just
stealing food from Iceland.
You had your turn. Saying that they will... You said yourself, which is actually a great point, right? When they've been in prison and they go out and get a job, they don't reoffend.
Yes.
That's the point. They're not being put in a shop as a punishment to go and get a job. That's not a punishment. Having a job, as much as we all complain about working, is a liberty. We take their civil liberties away to punish them. You don't want to punish them.
It doesn't work.
It does work. It worked for you. You haven't reoffended, have you? Have you reoffended?
The number of people who reoffend...
hasn't it?
I work in media, OK?
You're not a repeat
I work
offender.
in media. So I know, but most of them are.
And you won't reoffend.
Most of them are. The reoffending rates... Sorry, you interrupted me. I'm going to interrupt you. The reoffending rates in this country are highest in Europe.
You're obviously passionate about it because you wrote a book, but you really got to have people have their turn, right? You've written a book about it. It's all very interesting, but I just think you're out of touch. And what you're doing is you're judging criminals, all criminals, through your own eyes. It doesn't work like that.
OK, Paul, can I now
finish?
Chris, no. Paul, if a shoplifter is put to work in Iceland and then shoplift, they will go to jail.
Yeah.
This is a suspended sentence. So if you commit a crime while you're there, you would go straight to prison.
That's exactly how a suspended sentence works. Yeah. But what you're saying is...
But it might also give the shoplifter an insight, Susanna, into the damage that shoplifting does in supermarkets.
Over 50% of theft from retail is committed by employees. Do you think they get caught on the first occasion? They don't. They know the systems. They know how to work the systems. If you put a shoplifter into a shop, they'll quickly work it out.
And then they'll go to prison.
If they get caught. You know, shops are busy places.
They're going to be monitored, aren't they, while they're there?
Staff can get away with it for years and years.
Can I just break the news to you about something? This kind of scheme happens all the time anyway, OK? Your shops are full of people, often, who have criminal offences.
And have been punished.
What they do is a lot of them are sent to work in these places, like Iceland, like Timpson's, like Greggs, like McDonald's, and they all take people with criminal offences and put them in there because they know that employment is a surefire way to break the cycle of crime.
And at that point, we have to call it a day because we're out of time. But, I mean, I have to say, overwhelmingly, people are in support of you here. I mean, Sam says on X, I've been trying to get a job for nearly a year. It's great to know all I have to do is commit a little crime to get me a job in a supermarket. I'll give it a try. A lot of cynicism, I have to say.
Yeah.